I wake up with a start, my eyes struggling to adjust to the blinding whiteness surrounding me. The air smells sterile, tinged with a scent I can't quite place. I'm lying on what feels like a padded table, but something's off. I try to sit up, to move my arms, but there's an invisible force pinning me down. Panic begins to set in as I realize I'm restrained, but there are no ropes or straps in sight. A force field, perhaps. I rack my brain, trying to remember how I got here, to this futuristic clinic, but my memories are frustratingly elusive. The last thing I did, what was it? The harder I try to recall, the more it slips away, like trying to catch smoke with bare hands. Desperate for some clue, I shift my focus to my surroundings. The room is stark, almost unnaturally clean. There are no windows, just walls glowing with a soft, ambient light. To my right, a panel of screens embedded in the wall flickers with data I can't understand. My gaze then falls on a small, metallic object lying just within my field of view. It's a badge of some sort, with a name and a logo I don't recognize. Suddenly, a door I hadn't noticed before hisses open, and a figure steps in. A metallic figure, sleek and precise in its movements, glides towards me. It's like no droid I've ever seen before, more advanced and somehow more alive. Its body is a tapestry of shimmering metal and pulsing lights. I try to speak, to ask where I am, but my voice is a mere whisper against the silence of the room. The droid stops beside me, its mechanical arms extending with a grace that belies its metallic nature. One of its appendages is holding a syringe. Panic rises in my throat, but before I can react, it administers the injection. I brace myself for pain that never comes. Instead, a cold sensation spreads through my veins, chilling yet oddly soothing. It's as if the liquid is coursing through me, mapping my insides, understanding me. As quickly as it appeared, the droid retracts its arm and glides back towards the door, disappearing as silently as it had entered. The door hisses shut, leaving me alone once more with my racing thoughts. The chill from the injection starts to ebb, replaced by a strange clarity. Memories begin to flicker at the edges of my consciousness, teasing me with glimpses of the past. I see flashes of a city skyline, the buzz of technology, a sense of urgency. But it's like watching someone else's life through a foggy window. Then, as if triggered by the injection, the force field restraining me suddenly deactivates. I'm free to move, but my body feels weak, uncooperative. I manage to sit up, taking in the room with a new sense of purpose. I need to find out why I'm here and who, or what, that droid was. Gathering my strength, I slide off the table, my feet touching the cold floor. It's time to start looking for answers. With a newfound sense of determination, I begin to explore the room. The medical devices lined along the wall are unlike anything I've seen before. Sleek, with surfaces that seem to seamlessly blend with the ambient light, they hum quietly, their purpose a mystery to me. I run my fingers over them, half expecting them to spring to life, but they remain inert, their secrets locked away. I turn my attention to the platform where I was restrained. It's a marvel of technology, the surface smooth and cool to the touch. Attached to it are several monitoring devices, their screens alive with data. I lean in, squinting at the symbols displayed. The characters are unfamiliar, comprised of just 3 repeating shapes, arranged in patterns I can't decipher. A thought crosses my mind, unbidden and chilling: could I be in the hands of aliens? The technology around me certainly doesn't look human. Shaking off the thought, I make my way to the door, or where I think the door should be. It had opened so silently before, revealing the droid. But now, as I scan the wall, I find no handle, no panel, nothing to suggest a way out. It's as if the door was never there, the wall a continuous, unbroken surface. A sense of isolation creeps over me. I'm trapped in a room with technology one don't understand, surrounded by a language I can't read. The thought of being a subject, possibly an experiment, in an alien facility sends a shiver down my spine. But I push the fear aside. I need to stay focused, to use my wits if I'm going to figure out what's going on. I start examining the room more closely, looking for any clue, any anomaly in the walls or the equipment that might give me a way to communicate or escape. It's then that I notice a slight discoloration on one of the wall panels, a faint outline that could be a hidden interface. I approach it, my heart racing with a mix of hope and apprehension. Tentatively, I reach out, my fingers brushing against the surface. The sound is jarring, a clear, unmistakable tone of denial. My attempts to interact with the panel are futile, each touch only resulting in that same disheartening beep. Panic begins to set in, a stark, primal fear. My movements become erratic, my breaths shallow and rapid. My heart pounds against my chest, a drumbeat of desperation. I frantically search the room for anything that might serve as a tool, a weapon, anything. A knife to pry open the door, or at least to defend myself. My hands skim over the smooth surfaces of the medical equipment, finding nothing but frustration. Then, as if on cue, the door slides open silently. The droid from before enters, its metallic body reflecting the sterile light of the room. In its hand, another syringe, this one filled with a different colored liquid. No, not again. I can't let it inject me with another unknown substance. Adrenaline surges through me. As the droid approaches, I lunge at it, pushing it with all the strength I can muster. It stumbles back, a movement uncharacteristically clumsy for such a sophisticated machine. Seizing the moment, I bolt through the open door. The corridor outside is a maze of sleek, metallic walls, illuminated by a soft, diffused light. I run, my footsteps echoing in the empty space. A glance over my shoulder confirms my fear, the droid is following me, its movements quick and precise. But I don't slow down. I can't. I weave through the corridor, turning corners at random, hoping to lose my pursuer or find a way out. The facility is a labyrinth, rooms and hallways branching off in all directions, each looking identical to the last. As I run, the realization dawns on me, this isn't just a clinic or a lab. It's something much larger, more complex. And I'm trapped in its bowels, a rat in an elaborate maze. The thought fuels my desperation, lending speed to my legs. I need to find a way out, to understand what's happening to me. But the questions keep piling up. Who built this place? What do they want with me? And most importantly, how do I escape? My breath is ragged, my body pushed to its limits as I evade the relentless pursuit of the droids. In a desperate bid for respite, I dart into an open doorway, hoping to find a place to hide. The room I stumble into is eerily familiar, almost identical to the one I woke up in, but with one stark difference, there's someone else here. A woman, around my age, lies motionless on a similar platform to mine. For a moment, I'm frozen, unsure if she's another patient, or part of whatever experiment is being conducted here. As I approach cautiously, she stirs, her eyes fluttering open. Confusion etches her features, swiftly followed by fear. "Let me go," she exclaims, her voice tinged with panic. She struggles against invisible restraints, her gaze darting around the room frantically. "Help! Someone help me!" I raise my hands, trying to appear non-threatening. "Hey, it's okay. I'm not going to hurt you. My name is Alex. I woke up here just like you and I'm trying to find a way out." Her eyes fix on me, wide with fear and confusion. "Who are you? Where is this place? Why can't I move?" I explain as quickly as I can about the force field restraints and my own experiences since waking up. Her breathing gradually slows as she listens, but her eyes never leave mine, filled with a mix of fear and a flicker of hope. "My name is Mia," she says after a moment. "I don't remember how I got here. The last thing I remember. I was on my way home from work, and then, nothing." I nod, understanding all too well. I can't remember how I got here either. But I do know we need to get out. There are droids chasing me. Mia's eyes widen. Droids? What's happening here? I wish I had the answers. I don't know, but we need to work together if we're going to escape. I'll try to disable the force field holding you. As I speak, I scan the room for any kind of control panel or device that might release her. My eyes catch a small panel on the wall, similar to the one in my room. Tentatively, I approach it, hoping against hope that I can free Mia and we can find a way out together. But as I reach out to touch the panel, the door hisses open behind me. I turn, my heart sinking, as more droids enter the room, their mechanical forms blocking our only apparent escape. My instincts kick in as I lunge at the approaching droids, determined to push them back as I did before. But this time, they're prepared for me. Their mechanical arms move with precision, swiftly restraining me before I can make any significant impact. I struggle, but it's useless against their unyielding grip. One of the droids extends its arm, the now familiar syringe in its grasp. Despite my efforts to resist, the injection is administered, the cold liquid coursing through my veins once again. A wave of dizziness washes over me, blurring my vision momentarily. Beside me, I hear Mia's protests, her voice laced with fear and defiance. But like me, she's no match for the strength of the droids. They inject her with the same substance, and her struggles gradually subside as the drug takes effect. The droids release us, and without another word or sound, they exit the room, the door closing seamlessly behind them. The room falls into an eerie silence, the only sound our labored breathing. I look over at Mia, trying to gauge her condition. "Are you okay?" I ask, my voice steadier than I feel. She nods weakly, her eyes meeting mine. "What did they inject us with?" Her voice is a mix of fear and curiosity. "I wish I knew," I admit. "But it seems to have some kind of tranquilizing effect. Maybe they're trying to keep us docile." Mia sits up, rubbing her arms where the droids held her. "We need to find a way out," she says with determination, despite the obvious fear in her eyes. I agree, feeling a renewed sense of urgency. The injections, the pursuit, it all points to one thing: we aren't just captives, we're part of something much larger, something potentially dangerous. As the drug's effects begin to wane, I feel a strange clarity. Let's look for anything that can give us an idea of what this place is. There must be a way to escape, or at least to understand why we're here. Together, we start to examine the room more thoroughly, looking for any clues, any tools, anything that might aid us in our escape. Every moment is precious, and we're both keenly aware that those droids could return at any time. Mia and I continue to discuss our theories, the room around us feeling more like a cell with each passing moment. We're so engrossed in our conversation that we almost don't notice the soft whirring sound of another droid approaching. It's only when the familiar mechanical hum grows louder that we turn, and there it is, another droid, just like the ones before, coming to administer a third injection. Despite the uncertainty and fear, there's a part of us that's resigned to this routine now. The droid's presence, once a source of sheer panic, has become another surreal aspect of our extraordinary situation. We watch, almost in detached curiosity, as it approaches, syringe in hand, ready to plunge us further into this mysterious and unfathomable journey. Mia's voice, clear and commanding, cuts through the air. "Stop. Don't do that." To our astonishment, the droid halts its movement. Its mechanical head tilts slightly, as if considering her words. Alex and I exchange a look of disbelief. Did the droid just respond to a command? Tentatively, I add, "Why are we here? What are you injecting us with?" The droid remains motionless for a moment, its sensors flickering, then it moves towards the panel on the wall. With precise movements, it interacts with the controls, and suddenly, a large screen on the wall flickers to life. Mia and I watch, transfixed, as a news broadcast plays. But it's like no news we've ever seen. The date stamped in the corner is 50 years in the future. Images of war, destruction, and chaos fill the screen. A headline declares the onset of World War III, followed by scenes of nuclear explosions, cities in ruin, and a world plunged into despair. The footage shifts, now 80 years into the future. The narrator's voice speaks of unimaginable loss, 99% of the human population wiped out. The survivors, few and far between, live underground, their existence a constant struggle against radiation and despair. Then the screen changes again. A scientist appears, aged and weary, but with a determined look in his eyes. He speaks of a project, his life's work, a self-sustaining droid colony, designed to survive the apocalypse humanity has wrought upon itself. His vision is for these droids to one day repopulate the Earth, to bring life back to a world left barren by human conflict. The video ends, and the screen goes dark. The room falls silent, save for the soft hum of the droid. Mia and I stand there, processing the gravity of what we've just seen. The future, a future of our own making, is one of devastation and despair. So, we're part of this project. Mia's voice is barely a whisper, echoing my own thoughts. But how? And why us? The droid remains silent, its purpose fulfilled in delivering the message. The questions hang in the air, heavy and unanswered. I feel a mix of emotions, disbelief, fear, a sense of responsibility for a future we had no hand in creating. But there's also a glimmer of determination. If what we've seen is true, then perhaps Mia and I have a role to play in this new world, a chance to make a difference in the aftermath of humanity's greatest catastrophe. We need to find out more, I say, my voice firm despite the turmoil inside me. We need to understand our part in all this. Mia nods, her resolve mirroring my own. Together, we turn to face the droid again, ready to seek the answers that will define not just our fate, but potentially the fate of the world itself. In the wake of the staggering revelations on the screen, Mia and I are left grappling with a sea of questions and theories. Could this all be an elaborate hoax? Some sort of psychological experiment? Mia ponders aloud, her eyes clouded with doubt. I rub my chin, thinking. Or what if it's real? How are we here, alive and well, 50 years in the future? Were we cryogenically frozen? Or did we, time travel? Before we can delve deeper into our speculations, the droid returns, armed once again with syringes. This time, we don't resist. The injections feel like a necessary part of this puzzle, perhaps even bringing us closer to the truth. As the familiar chill of the injection spreads through my body, I ask the question that's been burning in my mind: how did we come to be here? Show us. The droid pauses, its sensors flickering, then turns and heads towards the door. It stands there, waiting, an unspoken invitation to follow. Mia and I exchange a glance, a silent agreement passing between us. We need answers, and it seems the droid is ready to lead us to them. We follow the droid through the sterile corridors of the facility. The maze-like structure feels less daunting now, a path to discovery rather than a labyrinth of fear. The droid leads us deeper into the complex, past rooms filled with advanced technology and other sleeping subjects, similar to us. Finally, we arrive at a room distinctly different from the rest. It's filled with screens, control panels, and a large glass chamber in the center. Inside the chamber are two pods, their designs futuristic, almost otherworldly. The droid activates a console, and the screens flicker to life, displaying images and data that make my head spin. Diagrams of cryogenic technology, quantum physics equations, and timelines that stretch far into the future and the past. It becomes clear, we were part of an experimental program. Cryogenically preserved, selected for our unique genetic and psychological profiles, we were brought to this time as part of a grander plan. A plan to repopulate and rebuild the world in the aftermath of its destruction. Mia steps closer to the glass, her reflection mirroring the awe and disbelief on her face. We were chosen, to be the architects of a new world. The weight of this realization is overwhelming. We are not just survivors, we are the seeds of a new beginning, chosen to breathe life back into a world that had once choked on its own folly. But with this revelation comes a new set of responsibilities, questions, and choices. What kind of world do we want to create? How do we navigate the moral and ethical implications of our roles in this new era? As we stand there, surrounded by the echoes of a past and future intertwined, we know that the journey ahead is ours to shape. The path won't be easy, but it's one we must walk, for the sake of those who come after us, in a world reborn from the ashes of its own making.